Well, you guys all know who I am. I'm Judge Vough. I'm the president judge of Luzerne County. It's my honor to be the president judge. Timing wasn't the greatest. Took over in January of 2020, and in March we had COVID. But I'm on the bench for 10 years now. I've run the criminal system for the last 6 or 7 years. I've run the criminal system. We're looking at doing some changes for next year. We're going to go to a 3 division system with criminal division, civil division, and we're going to devote 3 judges to our family division. The numbers in our family division have increased greatly over the last couple of years, and we're moving PFAs into the family division. So we're going to have basically 3 judges in family, 3 in criminal, and 4 in civil. I've handled thousands of cases over the last 10 years, doing everything on the criminal side. Did a couple of years of civil when I first took the bench because of my DA affiliation before taking the bench. So I did 2 years of civil, did PFAs. We've done, pretty much thousands of cases on a yearly basis. And the 10 years went by so fast that I can't believe it's now retention time for the 6 of us. I think we've all done a fantastic job, the 6 of us. We took over in trying times. When we came on the bench, we obviously had the problems, the predecessor problems that we kind of inherited. We've all worked very, very hard. We've all been very transparent with the public and with the press and with everyone, showing exactly what we've done to ensure that nothing like that would ever happen again in Luzerne County. And we'll continue to be diligent in our operations and make sure everyone is doing the right thing. And with the group of judges we have now and whoever the 2 new judges will be in January, I'm confident that the bench is obviously going in the right direction. We've turned it around, and we're excited about the future and what we can do with our divisions and trying to equal the workload for all the judges that we have and specialize a little bit more so the judges that we have are basically in an area where they're comfortable, and they can continue to produce efficient justice for everyone in Luzerne County.
You mentioned you've been in 10 years. There was a lot going on in those 10 years.
Yeah.
Is there something that surprised you or something unexpected that you encountered in your 10 years?
Not really. I was in the courthouse every day, for 20 years prior to that. The administrative side of it, being the president judge, is a little different. When you see all the administration with regards to, there's 450 employees in the court branch that you're responsible for as the president judge. The administrative duties are great, being the president judge, and that's been a change and a surprise for me. Obviously I saw Judge Burke and Judge Hughes, my predecessors, on the bench. Until you do it, though, you don't really see the amount of administrative duties that the president judge has. Obviously, we're going to have 2 new judges coming in next year, so getting them in their chambers with their staff, getting them up and running for January will be another thing that I really haven't had to deal with. But nuts and bolts in the courtroom, nothing really surprised me. Just the administrative duties as a president judge were more than I expected.
Okay. Obviously the immediate crisis when you folks came in was still the juvenile justice question after Kids for Cash.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit how that's evolved and where we're at in juvenile court now?
Well, I think we have the model of the state. We basically come, from the dark days where we had 2 criminal judges who were acting like criminals on the bench, conspiring to basically put money in their pocket on the backs of children and their families. We've done extensive training. We've revamped the entire system. No case is done without a juvenile having an attorney appointed. Our probation officers are all trained now. Our juvenile probation officers are trained that the case doesn't go forward. They don't present a case unless the juvenile has counsel. That is something that we changed 10 years ago, and we've basically done that. Being a judge is an isolating job. You're isolated from the public, so to say, and they never had staff meetings. Like, we have monthly meetings, court and bank meetings monthly, where we talk about everything. We talk about every division. Every judge gives an update of what they're doing. So there would never be an instance where we would have a situation like that again. Plus, we have judges that aren't criminals. We have judges that are good judges who do their job and work hard, and would immediately, if there was a problem, I would hear about it. And we do that on a monthly basis. We kick around everything that happened the month before. And we look at every facet of what we do on a monthly basis, which never happened before. So I think you'll never see that again. Our system is in place now, and we have a good quality bench where no one's going to act like those two previous judges acted.
So you're running for retention for a 10-year term.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to look up your birthday, but
I'm 57.
57, so you'll be
Yes.
serving a full 10.
Yeah, I will serve the full, my intention is to serve the full 10, yes.
Okay, all right. And I think that's true probably of everybody who's running. You're kind of a younger.
I would think, I don't know, I think everybody's in their, like, either late 50s or early 50s or early 60s, so I believe everyone, no one has told me about anything about retiring, so I'm assuming everyone's going to, the six of us are going to do the full 10-year term, I would expect. Unless something happens that out of our control, obviously, health-wise, or, who knows, family-wise. But as of right now, I believe all six of us will serve the full 10-year term.
Okay. You talked a bit about how family court is kind of burgeoning and increase in PFAs and that kind of stuff.
We are second per capita in the state in the number of PFAs filed per citizen in the state, only behind Pittsburgh. We're actually ahead of Philadelphia per capita. So it's been an area that's, we're averaging 80 to 85 PFAs a week, which is a lot. So what we've done is we have two high volume areas. Criminal is obviously a high volume area, and family is a high volume area. And we're trying to get by with one judge doing family and then all the judges doing PFAs. So what we're going to do is we have an opportunity now with two new judges coming in. We're going to basically form a family division where there will be three judges solely devoted to family. They'll be doing delinquency, dependency. Judge Rodgers will be doing delinquency and dependency. Our two new judges, whoever they are, will be doing PFAs and custody. And we're implementing a plan where we're going to go by the alphabet. So Judge 1, whoever judge that is, one of our new judges, will take A to L in the alphabet with the plaintiff's name starting. And then M to Z would be the other judge. So if you appear in front of Judge 1 for a PFA, they invariably turn into custody actions if there's children involved. So the same judge would hear your custody case that heard your PFA. One judge, one family. That's what we're trying to get. So the judge would have familiarity with the family involved in the PFA, and then familiarity with the family that it turns into a custody case. And that's basically what happens. Probably 75% of the PFAs turn into custody actions. And it's a high volume area where we've needed more judicial resources in that area. So me as president judge, we took an initiative. We're forming a plan that we're going to have three judges and family to basically handle the load of a couple thousand cases a year. If you look at PFAs, there's 12 or 1,300 PFAs a year. Custody is about 1,500 custody cases a year, not to mention divorces, delinquency, dependency, adoptions. So it needed more judicial resources, and that's what we've done. We're also looking at, we're going to move all our commission judges out of Penn Place. We're doing a chambers on the second floor, and we did a chambers across the street in the Berminski building where Judge Morosky used to be when he was a senior. We are going to have all 10 of our judges, commission judges, in the courthouse and in Berminski. Judge Agello will stay at Penn Place to do the DUI lists, but all of our commission judges will be in the two buildings just to make it easier and logistically easier than running jurors down to Penn Place and having people go to Penn Place. So our parking is better at the courthouse. We have a better system at the courthouse. So the plan is to have all 10 commission judges in January in the courthouse or the Berminski building.
Okay. You talked about the criminal workload. I know there's been a big move in recent years to get more people into diversionary programs.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of that?
Sure. We have a mental health court and we have a drug court that does diversionary programs. They're very successful. My only concern is there's not enough people in those programs. We'd like to expand the amount of people that go into those programs. So we're in discussions with the district attorney has the final say is who is admitted into those programs. So we've had ongoing discussions with the DA when it was Stephanie Salvanis and now when it's Sam Sangodoci about expanding the criteria for letting more people, more defendants into the drug treatment program. I'm a firm believer in it. I mean, I've been doing criminal for 7 years, and I'm convinced that 95% of our crime in Luzerne County is drug and alcohol related. There's always a drug background. These thefts you see, convenience store thefts, there's people stealing for money to buy drugs. So getting people off drugs and getting people to lead productive lives would eliminate them coming back through the criminal justice system. Now, I've been in the system for 30 years now, and I've seen the same families, the same people, back and forth, over the whole 30-year time, where I've seen, fathers, sons, now I'm getting grandchildren in the same families, and they all have the same addiction problems. So we're looking to ramp up the amount of people that we would put in those programs. Judge Skorosky does a great job administering that program. Our success rate in that program is fantastic. But the problem is we need to get more people into that program, and we're looking to expand those programs.
Anybody else have any questions? I don't want to monopolize everybody's time. No? Okay. So you're president judge. When does that term end?
It's a 5-year term. I started in 2020, January of 2020. So I'll be done January or December of 2024.
Okay.
It's a 5-year term, and you can't repeat. So you can come back and do it again if you want to. I don't know who would want to, but you come back and do it again if you want. You take 5 years off for someone else to do it, and then I could rerun if I wanted to 5 years down the road. It's not my intention to do that. I think we have a capable bench, capable replacements for me down the road. So I think anyone that wants to do the job should be, have an opportunity to do the job. So I'm not looking to do it again. 5 years is enough. But I'm implementing a lot of things that I think can make our courts better, getting a better system in place. Our systems were kind of antiquated, and we did some things that we were changing. Like we're doing a lot of change with regards to the divisions. Like we never did divisions before. We've changed to divisions. I feel it's more efficient having divisions where judges aren't bouncing around. It's easier to schedule when we have 3 judges in the same division for coverage. Like the criminal system we have now with Judge Skorosky and Judge Lupus and myself, we cover for each other all the time. And there's not a need to look for any other judges to cover for us because we do all the criminal cases in Luzerne County, and we share magistrates, and we each do a certain amount of magistrates, but we cover for each other. I was out last week with my injury. They both covered for me. I've covered for them in the past, obviously. So having divisions makes it easier to schedule, and for scheduling courtrooms, it's easier. Because we always had a courtroom problem because we didn't have enough courtrooms. So we're also going to look at putting a courtroom on the first floor of the courthouse too. We're going to expand and have 9 courtrooms in the courthouse. We've only had 7 for a long, long time. So we're looking to get some space, and I'm talking to Ramilda Crocomo about moving some of her offices down to Penn Place and trading space with them to get more space in the courthouse for courtrooms. I mean, it's a courthouse. It should be a courthouse, and we have the same mindset that it's the courthouse, not an office building. So we're looking to get more courtrooms in the courthouse to make it easier for judges and the general public, not having to go to Penn Place, look for parking. Our parking is much better at the courthouse. So that's basically, we're looking to modernize, obviously, with computer situation softwares and what we do. And COVID was something that we had to deal with. We couldn't shut down the courts. We continued to operate through the whole situation. We learned some things. We've learned a lot through COVID regarding, most importantly, jury selection. And we used to bring basically 200 people in on a Monday, and they would sit downstairs on the second floor. And if our case is settled, if all the cases resolved, they'd go home in 2 or 3 days and not accomplish anything. And we didn't use them. So during COVID, we brought one panel in at a time. So we brought it, if you have a case, a civil case, you bring a panel in for that civil case alone, a date certain. And if it settles a day or 2 before, we call them and jurors don't have to come in. If they come in, the case, they get picked. If they're not selected, they go home. So within 1 day, they're in and out. So our jury utilization numbers were never really good statewide. But now we're going to keep this system going forward. If COVID ever goes away, we're going to keep this system and do one jury at a time and pick one case every day instead of bringing 200 people in and letting them sit downstairs and not realize they're not accomplishing anything. They don't think they're accomplishing anything. But now we bring a case in, one panel per case. We have more room. We spread them out. and it gives us the ability to use jurors more efficiently than we did before. So that's what we're gonna keep using that. During COVID, I did a homicide at the arena. On the ice. We picked juries at the JCC. We picked juries at the Woodlands. We did everything we could to keep the criminal system going, because people have a right to have their case heard, and they have a right to not sit in jail even though there's COVID out there. So we went to work every day and we worked there. I'm really proud of everybody in our system, how we worked through COVID. All the judges were there, we were there, and our staffs were there, and PFAs continued. We did PFAs through the whole system when the building was open, obviously. But we learned a lot from COVID, and we learned some things that we're going to implement going forward. There's better ways to do things sometimes. The old days is, we always did it that way. Well, if we're not doing it right, why do we keep doing the same thing over and over again? If it's not, we can do it better. And that's what I look at. I look at how can we improve the system? How can we improve the system for everyone? And we're making some changes that I think are going to be very, very productive.
Does that include?
Judge, I know you were. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I know. Previously one of your big priorities was trying to cut down on the backlog and the criminal side, and that's obviously opened up the central court to kind of facilitate cases getting moved through. I was just going to ask, what sort of, since you're talking about COVID, what sort of impact did COVID have on that backlog?
We were at about 3,000 cases before COVID. I don't call it a backlog. It's the numbers we always have. Because of the criminal system, there's a certain amount of cases that can't get resolved quickly because of discovery, because of things. More serious cases take longer to get to a courtroom. So we had about 1,800 cases in our system. We would always have about 1,500 in our system at any given time. Prior to COVID, we were about 1,800. I track this every month. After COVID, we were at 4,800. So we were basically 3,000 cases behind because of COVID. Now we're basically at 2,100. So we're basically 300 cases still behind a little bit because of COVID. So our system, we totally revamped the system. We basically did away with arraignments, which was a waste of a court appearance, that people had to come in and say, here I'm arraigned, here's my charges, and they would plead not guilty and they'd walk out the door. We never accomplished anything. So what we've done is central court allows us to waive arraignments in writing at central court. That eliminates a court filing, eliminates a court appearance where half the people don't show up for, and then their bench warrants issued and they end up in jail. So what we've done is we've taken it right from central court. 45 days out, they get a date in front of a judge. If they want to resolve their case at that point, within 45 days of their preliminary hearing, they're in front of a judge in the common pleas level and they can resolve their case. Prior to COVID, I was getting cases that were, let's say the crime happened in June. In September, they're done. Basically within 90 days of their arrest, the case is over. So that's basically and central court is a key catalyst to that, because it puts everybody in the same room. It puts the police in the same room with the prosecutors and the defense lawyers. Discovery gets done quicker because they're there. They make deals there that are honored in front of us at common pleas. So we're looking to expand our central court location. We're looking to get a bigger building close to the prison. Again, we don't want to move it from where it is, but we need more space. So we're looking for a different location close to the prison to expand central court. I'm a firm believer in central court. I think it works. Our system has never been better. Our numbers have never been better. And we're going to look to expand central court, in my opinion, which is the catalyst to getting people, in and out of prison quicker and in and out of the system quicker. So central court is a key element, and we're looking to make that room a little bit bigger and get a little better location down the road.
So, a retention election is a bit different than what you did.
Very different, yeah.
How are you handling that? Are you, I understand there might be like at least a common poll card for all six of you. And
the six of us are very good friends. We work together greatly. We all like each other. So what we sat down and talked about it, and we all decided that we were not going to do signs. We're not going to do TV. We're not going to do, basically we're going to run our record. And we're going to, we agreed to do handout cards, the 6 of us together. And we're going to have, people out polling places and handing out the handout cards, and that's it. No signs. We've obviously gone to social events like we normally do in our lives. Maybe a little bit more this year before I broke my leg. But obviously we can go to political events now this year too, because we're on the ballot. Some of us decided, we don't really want to do that. We're sitting judges. It's different now. As a sitting judge, going to a political event, to me, it just doesn't look right. So we went to a couple. Some of us have not. But we're looking to run on our record and the fact that look where we are, where we were 10 years ago, and look where we are now. And I think we've all worked very, very, very hard to repair the image of the court and to bring the court back to where it was prior to the criminal activity of those 2 judges. It's different as a sitting judge. It's a much different election. It's a much different. I'm still obviously hearing cases and me going to a political event where people are there. I don't feel comfortable going to political events as a sitting judge.
Are you raising any money?
No, none of us are raising money. We're not accepting any donations from anyone.
Okay.
No, we basically kicked in money ourselves out of our own pockets to do the polling cards, and that's it. We're no signs. None of us have a committee. We're basically not raising any money at all. Different election, different, in the old days, our 2 friends that are in federal prison, they had retention elections where they raised money, and I don't think that's appropriate at all.
I think I'm out of questions. Anybody else have any more?
I appreciate the opportunity, gentlemen, and if you have any other questions, you know where I am. Mr. Halpin has my phone number, and Mr. Breezer has my phone number. If you need me, call me. If you have any questions about anything with the courts and what we're doing, we're really going forward, and we're moving to these divisions that I think are going to be very, very well received. The family bar is thrilled about having 3 judges now instead of 1. It's going to get people in and out quicker into custody trials and get, children that are in limbo, get them quicker to where they're supposed to be and get a resolution of their case much quicker than it was before. So we're very excited going forward. Hopefully the public likes us and they retain us, all 6 of us, and we can continue what we've done for the last 10 years.